After that, I'm going to tell you a Christmas story, maybe a love story, like all of these Christmas movies, these Christmas rom-coms, such as, what's the famous one called? The one that's really good. Love Actually. Love Actually is a great film, and yeah, it's romantic and it's set around Christmas time, just like Home Alone is another Christmas film that comes to mind, and another one with one of my favorite actors. Will Farrell plays Elf, you know? And this is again in New York City, where everything seems magical in New York for Christmas. Jingle bells, jingle bell rock. All I want for Christmas is you. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day, da 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 da. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to British English Pod. I hope I didn't hurt your ears whilst listening to the beginning of this podcast, but it's Christmas. Christmas is just around the corner, so I'm getting into the spirit. I'm getting into the mood, the Christmas spirit. And if you are watching me, you can see that I am wearing green. It might not be a Christmas jumper, but it's the best I had because all of my Christmas clothes are back home in England. And I'll be celebrating Christmas in England, but at the time of recording, I'm still in Brussels, so the only thing I could find was this funny thing that I'm wearing on my head. And it's some kind of like headband, and it's covered in red and green tinsel. And then you have two big gingerbread men who are wearing Santa Claus hats on the top. So this is the only thing I can wear to kind of show you that I'm feeling a little bit jolly. I'm feeling a bit merry. And yes, we do say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But did you know that merry does mean happy, but not only happy? Because merry is also a way of saying a little bit drunk. Yes, merry is a synonym for tipsy. So if you have a few glasses of wine, you might get a little bit merry, a little bit tipsy. You're not drunk, but you're on your way. But no, I haven't had any alcohol before recording this. In fact, I would like to be outside right now. Usually, at this time of the day, I go outside for a walk, listening to a podcast to stretch my legs and clear my head before I begin my evening classes of the community, British English immersion. But no, it's raining. It's raining a lot, so I thought, well, what else can I do? I might as well record the Christmas podcast. So here I am, and in today's podcast, I'm going to speak all about the religious origins of Christmas, how Christmas has evolved, developed, and changed over recent years. And then I'm going to tell you some different things that we do in the United Kingdom to celebrate the Christmas period. After that, I'm going to tell you a Christmas story, maybe a love story, like all of these Christmas movies, these Christmas rom-coms, such as, what's the famous one called? The one that's really good. Love Actually. Love Actually is a great film, and yeah, it's romantic and it's set around Christmas time, just like Home Alone is another Christmas film that comes to mind, and another one with one of my favorite actors. Will Farrell plays Elf, and this is again in New York City, where everything seems magical in New York for Christmas, with fireworks, everybody's going shopping, They've got lots and lots of presents, and it always seems like at least they paint the picture that in New York, it always snows over Christmas. And I'm a bit skeptical. Does it really? If there are any people here listening or watching who have been to New York for Christmas, did it snow whilst you were there? Because in the north of England, where I'm from, and where I've spent practically every Christmas of my 33 years of life, I think it snowed on Christmas Day a total of 3 times, maybe? So if we do the maths, that means that it snows on Christmas Day in England maybe 1 in 10 years. But I reckon it's probably even less. But a white Christmas is beautiful. There is nothing better than seeing that it's Christmas Eve. In the morning, you're going to wake up, open your presents around the Christmas tree with your loved ones, and it be snowing out there outside whilst you're having a hot cup of tea or a hot coffee, maybe even some Baileys, and getting merry. But it doesn't happen very often, I'm afraid. If you're lucky being in England when it is snowing, then cherish it. Take advantage of it because it doesn't come around very often. And just before I get started properly to speak all about Christmas, I know that people around the world celebrate different things. We all have different cultures, different traditions, different religious celebrations. So if you personally don't celebrate Christmas, then no problem. I hope you have a fantastic holiday period anyway. And let me know in the comments what kind of similar tradition you have. If you celebrate something around the same time or in November, a different period of time in the year, let me know because I'm always eager to learn about different cultures and how people around the world celebrate things differently. That's what makes us unique, and that's what makes humanity so interesting. So that's just a little disclaimer. And also in the video description, I will leave a little link so you can sign up to my newsletter, given that last week I teased you about the fact that I'm in the process of developing a language learning app called English with Lewis, where you can speak to me on the application, or at least a cloned version of my voice. So if you want to be one of the first ones to discover it and download it, then sign up to my newsletter, and very soon I'll be sending you an email with all of the information so you can start using it, learning vocabulary, and speaking to my AI chatbot. So, let's kick off. Let's get started. It's Christmas time, it's Christmas time. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think you can tell that I'm excited for Christmas. For me, Christmas is very special. And one of the reasons why it's special as an adult is that I always go home. I spend a couple of weeks with my parents, with my sister, my nephew, with cousins. So it's one of these few times in the year when I spend quality time with my family, but also my friends, because I live abroad, other people live in different cities, but over Christmas, everybody comes back home because they have this big Christmas dinner with family. So we take advantage of that to meet up, go out, catch up, and have a good time. So yeah, I'm buzzing. That means I'm really, really excited. I'm buzzing about Christmas. But let's begin with the religious origins of Christmas. Christmas originates from the celebration of the Nativity of Jesus Christ, marking his birth in Bethlehem. According to the Gospels, Mary and Joseph traveled there due to a Roman census, and Jesus was born in a stable because there was no room at the inn. Angels announced his birth to shepherds, symbolizing humility. while the three wise men followed the star to bring gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The date 25th of December was chosen in the 4th century, possibly to align with Roman festivals like Saturnalia and Sol Invictus, both celebrating the return of light during the winter solstice. This helped Christianity spread by blending spiritual symbolism, like light overcoming darkness, with existing traditions. Early celebrations focused on prayer, reflection, charity, and community gatherings. So that's how it started. That is the religious origin of Christmas. And, well, I'm not religious, to be honest. I don't know how to class myself, but I guess I'm either an atheist or agnostic because I don't pray. But my mum, who you know, is still a practicing Christian. She is Church of England, so she's not Catholic, but she is a Christian and she still goes to church every Sunday. And when I was growing up, I was christened, which is the Protestant equivalent of being baptized. But, over years, over time, I stopped believing or making an effort to, let's say, learn more about faith and about Christianity. So I respect everybody's religion, and I think religions are usually a source of good. But yeah, for me, Christmas nowadays, to tell you the truth, isn't really a religious thing. At least not for me, but for people who still maintain this religious celebration, then I respect you. And I think this is a good thing to continue your traditions, your beliefs, and use it for good. But now let's dig a little bit deeper into how Christmas has evolved into a commercial holiday. So, let me keep reading. As Christianity spread, Christmas took on regional customs. But the largest transformation occurred in the Victorian era, when Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol redefined the holiday as a time of generosity and family. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert popularized Christmas trees, carols, and festive gatherings. In the 20th century, Christmas became increasingly commercial, as it is even more today. And this was maybe accelerated because of department stores. And they expanded gift-giving traditions. So maybe big companies pushed us and forced us to buy more and more gifts, buy more and more presents because people believed that this was connected to being generous and showing your love for other people. But not only that, because there were also advertisements, ads, adverts, especially Coca-Cola's version of Father Christmas. And that shaped modern imagery. What we see from this advert is now what we believe Father Christmas, Santa Claus, looks like. And maybe I should have done my research, because I believe in the beginning, Father Christmas wore green, and then because of Coca-Cola, whose brand reputation and all of the labeling is in red, they changed Father Christmas to wear red rather than green. I'm not 100% sure if that is true or not, but I've heard it for sure. And not only that, but mass production made decorations, cards, and toys widely accessible. So more and more children and more family could write a Christmas list and send it to Santa with what they wanted to receive for Christmas, if, of course, they had been behaving well that year. And moving on from that, I also mentioned Love Actually, Home Alone. Film and media has also revolutionized the way we see Christmas, because you always have Christmas songs, which personally I quite like. And then Christmas films as well. Every single year, there are 5 or 10 new Christmas films. Usually we continue to watch the classics, the ones that don't get old. Another one that comes to mind is The Holiday, which is with Jude Law and Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz, where they swap houses and lives, essentially, between Los Angeles and a small town outside of London. This is another classic that, again, makes us visualize Christmas in that way, with lots of snow, lots of romance, people going to pubs, spending time with friends, which, I guess these are the beautiful things about Christmas. But there are some other interesting developments to bear in mind. This one is perhaps very British, but it is the Christmas cracker. It was invented by a guy called Tom Smith in 1847. And if you ever go to a British, Australian, Canadian, or even American Christmas, then you'll see that around the dinner table, there will be lots of crackers. And these are these kind of like decorated cardboard cylinders where you have 2 pieces on the edge that you need to pull from. And when you pull it, you hear a snap or a crackle or a pop. And you'll see that a little hat will fall out. Also, a little piece of paper with a joke, an interesting fact, and something else probably as well. And there'll always be a little toy. And this toy could be something very, very simple, insignificant. It could be a bottle opener. It could be a nail file or a nail clipper. But these are usually things that are inside a Christmas cracker. And I always open Christmas crackers with my mum, my dad, and the rest of the family. Another interesting thing is that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was created as a marketing character in 1939. I'm not sure if you know the song, but it is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer has a very shiny nose. Ba 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 da ba ba ba. So it's one of these classic Christmas songs or Christmas carols. But yeah, it was created for marketing purposes, and this shows how commercial Christmas is. And then in the United Kingdom, obviously we have Christmas Eve, which is the 24th. We have Christmas Day, the 25th. And then the 26th of December is Boxing Day. And Boxing Day is a public holiday, so nobody works. And usually people are eating leftovers from Christmas dinner. They'll be nursing a hangover, maybe going to watch football, because in England we have Boxing Day fixtures as well, which is always a good plan if you ask me. But yeah, Boxing Day is another day when sales begin. So the day after Christmas begin the sales, the Boxing Day sales and January sales. And this turned the holiday into a major economic event because more and more people would go out to pick up some deals and good offers related to Christmas. So all in all, overall, Christmas evolved into a mixture of religious meaning, family nostalgia, above all, commercial excitement, and a bit of cultural storytelling as well. Now, let me tell you a bit more about the UK. And we'll begin with the food, what we eat. And I should probably find an image for this. And I should probably have done this before I started recording. But you know me, I can improvise and play it by ear. So I've just Googled Xmas dinner. And I'm going to show you some of the things that we would have around Christmas, because we'll wake up in the morning, you might have some light breakfast, and maybe some drinks, and at least in my family, my mum and dad will be cooking from maybe 9 o'clock in the morning until about 2 or 3. And we have this big meal at, let's say, 3 o'clock. We don't normally have starters either because we go straight into the main meal. And it's essentially a roast dinner, a Sunday roast, but with some added things. So let's see if I can find some good photos to properly show you what it looks like. But this could be one. And it says a cheap Christmas dinner. So you'll have roast meat. In my family, we usually have roast beef and we have roast turkey. Then you'll always have 2 potato dishes. So you'll have roast potatoes, which are amazing, and you'll have mashed potatoes as well, which again are absolutely delicious. And these are cooked in the oven. Other vegetables that are common would be some cabbage. We'll have some carrot and swede. We'll also have some parsnips. We'll also have some Brussels sprouts. And we have some peas. Sometimes we even have some broccoli. So we have our 5 a day in terms of vegetables. And then we also have Yorkshire puddings, which I'm sure you've heard of. And then some, what are they called? The little chipolata sausages that are wrapped in bacon. These are pigs in blankets, of course. So we have pigs in blankets as well as one of the little sides that we all pile on the same plate. So you have one huge plate of food, and you can have seconds or thirds if you want to repeat what you had. And everything has to be drowned in gravy. And gravy is this meat sauce. It could be beef, it could be chicken, it could be mushroom if you're a vegetarian as well. And what I like to do, once I've made this big platter of Christmas food, is I'll get a jug of gravy and just pour it all over the place. And this is delicious. It's amazing. There are some people who will go out to a pub or a bar for their Christmas dinner, but my mum likes to have people over and have people to our house. So she'll be the main cook, with my dad being like the sous chef. And they put on an amazing spread. To put on a spread is to provide lots and lots of food. And it is delicious. It is scrumptious. It is to die for. So, returning to my guide, I got a little bit distracted because you know me and food. When I start speaking about food, I get carried away. I get too excited and I start to get hungry and my stomach begins to rumble as well. But yeah, I can't wait to have a Christmas dinner. Oh, delicious. But that's the main Christmas dinner, but we also have desserts. So we have a Christmas pudding, which is like lots of dried fruit, raisins with some kind of sponge. You've got icing on the top, and it's made with like a brandy sauce. So it's kind of alcoholic as well. Other little desserts that we'll have is a Yule log, which is like a log of what appears to be wood from a tree, but it's actually chocolate. And you might have different cream and stuff around it. And trifle or pavlova are other common things to have for your Christmas dinner. Then decorations. Well, we decorate the house as beautifully as possible with, of course, a Christmas tree. And you will wrap a Christmas tree in tinsel, baubles, lights, Maybe you'll put some stockings next to it with different chocolate inside. You should also have, what's it called? A mistletoe in front of the door. And mistletoe is the plant that is like a wreath. And if you are standing under the mistletoe, you should kiss the person next to you, of course, if it's appropriate. So that's how people decorate their houses. In my family, we do decorate it quite a lot, but not as much as you'll see on some American movies. And well, around the Christmas period, we also have carol singing. So people singing Christmas carols. It's perhaps less common nowadays, but it's still a thing. And people will go door to door in small groups singing Christmas carols. The most famous one that comes to mind is, of course, Silent Night, Lonely Night, da da da, da da da. I obviously don't know all of the lyrics, but it is Silent Night. It's a classic. And then other little things. Pantomimes are funny interactive theatre shows that are loved by families around Christmas. We have a lot of hot drinks like mulled wine, which is warm wine, maybe hot chocolate with marshmallows, or you can also have like warm cider. These are all these typical things that you will find when you go to a Christmas market, like a German Christmas market, which are always a good laugh as well. And secret Santas. Have you ever heard of the term secret Santa? Because it's quite a common thing. At least when I used to live in Spain, they call it invisible friend. But we call it secret Santa, where you'll all divide your names and you'll agree to get someone a present. So just one person a present. Let's say there are 6 of us, and I write my name on a piece of paper, and then somebody else receives my name. They need to buy me a present. But I will also receive an anonymous person's name, and I have to buy them a present. And we only really do this for Christmas, usually with friends or at the workplace. You'll do a secret Santa. And I mentioned Christmas Eve. Let's go into Christmas Eve in more detail. This is a day of anticipation. Families might go to midnight mass if they are religious. They will obviously wrap up these last minute presents. They'll watch festive films or even get a head start and prepare the food for the next day. And little kids might leave milk, mince pies, or cookies for Santa, who's about to come down the chimney. And carrots for, the reindeer, because the reindeer are going to transport Father Christmas on his sleigh. You can say sleigh or sledge. Those were the days, being young and believing in Christmas. Oops, maybe I shouldn't say that. So moving on. So Christmas Day is usually opening presents in the morning, Christmas dinner, maybe you play board games, you might play charades, maybe go for a long walk to just stop feeling quite as full, and watching more films, to be honest. When I was a little bit younger, I used to go out on Christmas Eve, and I'd meet up with my friends and go to the pub, and it's quite nice to go out to a pub around Christmas because it's very warm. Everybody's in a good mood. But in recent years, I've stopped going out on Christmas Eve. And the reason is that I can't handle hangovers like I used to be able to. And there's nothing worse than having a horrible hangover when you know you've got loads and loads of food that you need to eat. So nowadays, I just take Christmas Eve nice and easily with my family and get an early night's sleep. And, well, Boxing Day, I mentioned it. Let me tell you a bit more about it. Because Boxing Day is historically a day of giving to the poor. We would give boxes of what you didn't want or didn't need to people who were less fortunate than you. But nowadays, it's about sales and football matches, if you ask me. Then moving on from Christmas, we have the 31st, which is New Year's Eve, and the 1st, which is New Year's Day. And New Year's Eve is less of a family occasion. In my experience, it's more of a gathering with friends, and it's celebrated with fireworks, parties. You have this big countdown on TV where you can see Big Ben, and then everybody says, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, yay! And you'll turn to the person next to you, give them a big hug, perhaps a kiss, and after the countdown, well, you continue having a good time with usually your friends, but maybe with family as well. And, well, New Year's Day, of course, is the first day of the year, but for many people, it is a wasted day because people will have stayed out until very late the night before. So on New Year's Day, all you've got to do is once again nurse the hangover, try to deal with it in the best way possible. Okay. Now, let me go over a few of these conversation questions. Not all of them, but how about this one? What Christmas traditions from other countries do you find interesting? Because I feel like in the UK, we're quite basic when it comes to Christmas. We don't have all of these flamboyant and unusual traditions or cultures that other countries have. To give you an example, in Spain, I know there will be Spanish listeners. In Spain, did you know that for New Year's Eve, when you have the countdown, you have 12 chimes of the bell. For each time the bell rings, you need to down a grape. And for every time it happens, every ring, which gives you maybe a second between each one, you have 12, grape, 11, grape, 10, grape. So you end up with a mouthful of 12 grapes. It is unusual. It's interesting. I like it. Another Christmas tradition that I've heard of is that in Japan, people actually have KFC for their Christmas meal. If you haven't heard of this, you might be thinking, Lewis, what are you on about? What are you talking about? But it's true. I have heard that Kentucky Fried Chicken, yes, KFC, is a very, very common thing to eat on Christmas Day in Japan, of all places. It's madness, innit? And then going back to Spain, because it's where I have spent Christmas before, it's celebrated slightly differently. Because in Spain, people will have a big meal on the 24th, so Christmas Eve, and it's less important in most households on Christmas Day. But then New Year's Eve in Spain, again, it's a very family thing, at least until midnight. And then, Spanish people might go out if you're young and go partying until the sun rises. But for Christmas presents, most Spanish families will give Christmas presents on the 6th of January. And this is apparently when the 3 wise men would come bearing gifts for little baby Jesus. So, knowing that my fiance is Spanish, I have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to buying Christmas presents. Because I like to leave things until the last minute in many cases. And my brother-in-law or my sister or my parents will be asking me like, oh, Lewis, what did you get your fiance for Christmas? And I often don't have any idea, even up until the 1st of January. But there's no rush because she gets presents on the 6th of January. So I've got an extra week and a bit to think about what present to get her. And that means I can benefit from the Boxing Day and January sales. I know. I'm a genius, aren't I? Or probably just very, very stingy. Now, I've already spoken about Christmas food quite a lot. So, New Year's resolutions. I might make another podcast related to this topic, but something that I have started to do is I make a list of objectives at the beginning of the year. So if I look at my objectives for this year, I could see that I wanted to become a freelancer. I wanted to have my own students. I wanted to get in shape. I wanted to do many other things and improve my French. Half of these things have happened, and the other half of these things haven't happened. But I believe it's important to just think about your priorities and think about what you want, because that way it's easier when you write things down on a piece of paper or on an application to visualize how you're going to achieve these goals. The same thing happens for typical New Year's resolutions, these objectives like quitting smoking, losing weight, getting fitter, making more friends, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm not sure what my New Year's resolution will be for next year, but I'll probably make a podcast about it maybe next week or the week after. So watch this space. And now I'm going to tell you a story because about a month ago, I made 5 more short stories in English, which people seem to enjoy, and I'll continue doing it maybe even once per month in 2026. But because I was thinking about Love Actually, about Home Alone, about The Holiday, I thought, let's create our own Christmas love story. And it is between 1,000 and 2,000 words, and I'm going to read it to you. So hopefully you enjoy it, and you improve your listening and vocabulary at the same time. The name of the story is Snowflakes at Holliberry Lane. I'm just going to have a little bit of water before I read it. Okay, hydration. That should help. Are you ready? Christmas story time. Let's do it. Snowflakes at Holliberry Lane. Emma Harwood never expected to spend Christmas alone. At 28, she was used to the buzz of London life, the chaos of last-minute shopping, and the comforting glow of cafe windows as she rushed between lessons with her English students. But this year was different. Work had been intense. Her family were spending Christmas abroad, and for the first time in her adult life, she found herself craving a slower, quieter holiday. So she booked a tiny cottage in Holliberry Lane, a postcard-perfect village tucked between rolling hills and frost-covered forests. She imagined long walks, steaming mugs of hot chocolate, and perhaps writing the New Year's goals she kept putting off. What she didn't imagine, what she couldn't have imagined, was meeting Daniel. Emma arrived 2 days before Christmas, suitcase in one hand and a bag of groceries in the other. The village square looked as if it had been pulled straight out of a Christmas card, a huge tree draped in fairy lights, a brass band warming up for carols, and a scattering of market stalls selling everything from knitted scarves to homemade fudge. That's when she slipped. Her boots skidded on a patch of ice. The bag flew out of her hands, and before she could stop herself, she landed squarely on her back with a very undignified thud. Are you all right? Said a warm voice. Emma blinked up at a tall man with dark hair, rosy cheeks from the cold, and the kind of smile that made her forget the embarrassment radiating through her entire body. I'm fine, she said, trying to sit up. Just doing a bit of ice testing. He laughed and held out a hand. I'm Daniel, and you're dangerously unprepared for Holliberry Lane by the looks of it. She shook his hand, feeling an unexpected spark. Emma! And yes, well, this is what happens when you spend too many winters on the tube. Daniel helped gather her scattered groceries, offering to carry them to her cottage. She learned that he lived in the village, worked as a woodworker, and volunteered at the Christmas market each year. Emma found herself laughing more in that 10-minute walk than she had in weeks. Over the next day, their paths kept crossing. Not by accident, at least. Not entirely. Daniel knocked on her door with extra firewood. Emma wandered to his workshop under the excuse of buying a handmade ornament. They found themselves sharing mulled wine at the market, walking through the frosted woods, and talking about everything from childhood traditions to their hopes for the year ahead. By Christmas Eve, the connection between them was unmistakable. That evening, the entire village gathered in the square for carol singing. Fairy lights twinkled overhead as snowflakes drifted slowly from the sky. Daniel found Emma in the crowd, his scarf dusted with snow. Come with me, he said. He led her behind the Christmas tree, where the glow of the lights formed a soft halo around them. I know we've only known each other a few days, Daniel said, but it feels like I've known you much longer. Emma swallowed, her heart thudding. I feel the same. He took her gloved hands. I don't want this to be just a holiday memory. Stay a bit longer. Spend New Year's here, with me. Emma looked up at him, snowflakes landing gently on her eyelashes. She had planned for solitude, for quiet reflection. But sometimes, the best Christmas surprises were the ones that weren't planned at all. I'd love to, she whispered. Daniel smiled, soft, relieved, and full of something she recognized instantly. Hope. As the bells rang out midnight, he leaned in and kissed her. Their first kiss illuminated by the warm glow of the Christmas tree and a soft hush of falling snow. It was, she realized, exactly the Christmas she didn't know she needed. And perhaps the beginning of something that would last far beyond the festive season. And that's it. That is the story, the love story. It sounds a lot like The Holiday to me. I think there's been some copying. I think ChatGPT has copied almost word for word, character for character, the story and script of The Holiday. But I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you'd like me to tell more short stories, then let me know in the comments and I can do that. I could do it once a month, as I said. But before we call it a day and finish this Christmas special podcast, I'd like to review some phrasal verbs or idioms. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I will review some of them. So let's begin with phrasal verbs. And the first one is put up, because we use put up with decorations. For example, we put up the Christmas tree as soon as December starts. Then, for presents, we use wrap up, and this is to cover gifts in wrapping paper. I need to wrap up the last few presents before Christmas Eve. Then another one, which is more neutral, is stock up on. And this is to buy plenty of something. For example, we should stock up on snacks for the Christmas film marathon. Then, of course, we could talk about look forward to, like I look forward to Christmas. I also catch up with my friends, like I update them. And when I go inside a pub, I always warm up by the fire because it's cold outside. And idioms, expressions. You may have heard of the phrase, the more the merrier, which is another way of saying the more the better. So I could say, bring your friends to the party. You know, the more the merrier, the more the better. Then we have like turkeys voting for Christmas. And this is an unusual expression, which means doing something against your own interests. It's like turkeys voting for Christmas. For example, agreeing to work on Christmas Day felt like turkeys voting for Christmas. I could also argue that many working class people voting for Brexit is like turkeys voting for Christmas. I know it's Christmas, but I still released a little bit of my political views. Sorry. And then one more, it is deck the halls. And this is to decorate your home in a Christmassy way. We decked the halls with lights and tinsel and a Christmas tree, you name it. We decked the halls. And you might be familiar with this one because I believe there is a film or a song which also says deck the halls. And it means to, well, decorate your house for Christmas. And on that note, I think I'll finish off. It's getting dark here. It's getting late. And I better get ready for my classes. But thank you so much for listening or watching. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on Spotify or like and comment on YouTube. And check out the link in the description to sign up to my free newsletter. And that way you'll be the first to know when my new AI vocabulary flashcard app becomes available. So, thanks again. I'll see you next time. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Lots of love.